Turn it off.
Further Faster, the best independently owned outdoor store in the known universe. Whether you're heading out on climbing, paddling, tramping or running adventures, look no farther than Further Faster for all your gear and expertise needs over the winter. Head over to 57A Buchan Street, Sidnamoto Tahi, Christchurch, or hit them up at furtherfaster.co.nz.
It goes something like further, faster, there in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go to further, faster now.
Oh, further, faster, there in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious.
Go to further, faster now.
Some of those bibs have like extra bits behind them as well, like magnetic strips and extra foam and stuff, and you could end up in all sorts of trouble.
Schwacking on there. But anyway, episode 335 of Dirt Church Radio. Kia ora koutou. I'm Matt Raymond.
I'm Ali Pottinger.
And I'm Andrew McDowell. Hello.
Well, look, we were just talking about the finer points of lower race wear and bib placement. I guess celebrating hard rock because there was quite a few Euros.
Is that a pun?
You're right.
No, it's not.
Sorry.
It's
Okay.
not. No, it's
See
not.
what you did there.
Yeah. I was just thinking about the all-French podium at
Yeah.
Le Hard Rock.
Were they all in the three-quarter tights?
I think
or the
one of them
quarter,
might have
whatever
been.
you call them, the half tights, whatever they are.
I have to say, did you guys see the river crossing video of Matthew Blanchard with the leg condoms is what the Americans were calling them? So he like sprints, you have to watch it. He's like basically sprinting up to this river, puts on these like long leg condoms to go over his shoes and lower legs, hoofs it through the river, and then they showed Zach Miller his river crossing. But it was a sight to behold.
Did Zach Miller go across on all fours?
He had to get on a little boat because he's so short.
Have you seen that video of him drinking out of the wheelie bin have you seen that? And he got like shellacked for it and he was
No.
shoveling water all over himself.
Ah.
I loved and I hated the leg condoms in equal part because obviously I'm sort of like, how precious are we getting, you know? But then I was kind of like, but he pulled it off so smooth, eh? Like he barely broke stride.
Nah, it was impressive.
And then he gets to the other side, his feet are dry, and I'm like, oh, I really like it, but I hate that you did that.
So they're called galoshes.
Well, they're just
Or waders.
no, they're just plastic. They're literally like long plastic bags, like see-through plastic bags.
Righto.
He must have practiced that. Do you reckon he's practiced that?
He would
absolutely
have
practiced
absolutely had a camp on that.
Yeah.
Throughout the
Any
week.
of us noobs doing it would be sectioned under the mental health act. They'd be like, there's a dude
Oh,
running
plus
back
I would
and
have fallen
forth.
on my face like 5 times trying to do it.
Yeah.
I think we should make that a challenge. We should all give it a go
Okay.
and video it.
Okay.
Any river crossings coming up in anyone's races?
Not sure.
I'll just go head up putting a stream, to be honest.
There you go.
But look, deviating wildly from the painstakingly compiled outline, how's everyone doing?
Good. Yeah. How about you?
How's your Andrew? I mean, you raced a bunch. You did Northburn. You did the road thing that you did, the 24-hour thing that you did, and then you felt quite crook after that. How are you going? You sort of...
Yeah, I was kind of like sick for 2 months, and it and it's one of those ones. I heard a lot of people had this. You sort of you start to feel all right, and so I'll go for a bit of a long run. I start to push it out a bit, and then just absolutely wrecked for like 3 days again. You just go up, down, the whole time. And it's actually only the last sort of, I'd say, barely 2 weeks that I've felt normal again. And gee, it's good to feel good. Man, don't take that for granted, eh? If you're feeling good right now, just take a moment to appreciate that. No Northland 100 this weekend for me. I'm going to Wellington to watch Wrexham FC play. So annoying that the only 2 things on this entire winter are on exactly the same day, but that is life sometimes. But Matt, you're heading up there soon, eh? How you going?
Yeah, going up on Friday night after work with Rebecca, and going to run in Glenberview Forest. Don't know, never been up there, but never been up to that part of Whangarei before, so really excited about it. And a bit of nerves this week, actually. I've tried to be a bit chill about the race, really, but it turns out that I am not a very chill person. So just all that stuff in your head, like worrying about it, thinking about it, and just actually probably never gone into anything that I've ever done having not done much training. You know what I mean? But then, like, I've also talked about heaps how, you know, I think about Tarawera and I just got smoked by people who did heaps less training than me. So I'm like, I might just go up and have a good time and see what happens rather than like really obsess over this thing that I'll be probably pretty mediocre at anyway and just see how it goes. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing heaps of buddies and just having a good time.
Yeah, no matter what, race day is always race day. No matter how chill you want to be, there's always going to be, and that's good. That's what we want to do. We want to be excited, you know.
Yeah,
something to look forward to.
Excited's the wrong word. That implies a positivity.
Okay, anxiously excited.
Just anxious, I think, is the word that I'm searching for. But I think that's also an authentic experience of emotional state. But no, I'm looking forward to it.
And Ellie, you're back training?
I'm
not using too strong a term there, am I? You're back on it?
No, you know what? Like it is. It's training. It's building up. I've been getting to the gym quite a bit and building up my running and, just getting a bit of a good routine going on. I'm a bit like you, Andrew, and I had sore back for like 6 weeks. And then I got sick after UTA and then I tweaked my back again and I was just like, this has been a cluster. Like a good couple of months or more of feeling pretty subpar. So it's nice to just actually be in a routine and be able to tick some training sessions off and be starting to feel the benefits of it. Yeah.
It's nice to be in I was talking to my friend today and I was saying it's nice to be in a process. Like it's nice to be at a spot on a process. You know, that's really nice, and having a sort of a sense of forward progression is good. But
some consistency building up. It's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, not having this flaming bursitis in my foot. That's really been quite nice. Talk about feeling good, you know, like when you can put your foot on the ground and it doesn't feel like it's on fire. That's a really nice. It's a win, even when you know that, like, okay, that's not going to break my foot. Just psychologically, every time you put your foot down, it hurts. It's so it's nice to leave that one behind. But look, Ellie, Hard Rock was on. Looked awesome. What about James Edwin at Bandwater?
Oh, that was so cool. Well, not cool. Like that was fire. That was hot because it is hot, right? It's Bandwater. So it was pretty neat to just kind of gradually update the tracker and see he was just getting it done. Like because it must be really blimmin' tough.
I just looked at a post that Jeff Peltier put up, and obviously, and you made the somewhat snarky comment. Yes, maybe your people do, Andrew, but you're like, doesn't everyone run 100 miles in 21 hours? But he smoked it. He came through Badwater at 100 miles in 21 hours. And then I think he finished in like 33 something. And he said it just kicked. So that's a 35 miles. And obviously it's uphill to Mount Whitney from the lowest point in the contiguous United States to the highest. But it kicked his ass. And he said it was just like, it just destroyed him. So it looks impressively hard.
His summary to me was slightly hard, never again, bro.
Slightly hard.
That was his whole thing. That's all he wrote.
Never again.
We'll see. We've all said never again, right?
Did you ever see the photo of Glenn Sutton's feet after he did Badwater?
Oh, I don't think I had the pleasure.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't be paying for them. But my Lord, yeah, what a thing. And it looked like too, I mean, we all kind of grew up, and I don't know about you guys, you know, seeing Scott Jurek and that kind of the full, and Dean Karnazes and the full kind of painter suit with the thing, and people, it seems like people have moved on from that, and they're just wearing.
I think they've got better at the cooling side of things, and just managing it better. And
49 degrees though, my goodness me. But look, speaking of hot races, moving on to hot races, Ellie, who do we have on the pod this week?
Oh, we had Marianne Hogan, and she is fresh off Western States, 3rd place, I believe.
Yep.
And just, I don't know, she's a bundle of fun, hey? Like, she's just positive energy, absolute weapon. Like, the races that she's done, the results she's had, and the kind of trials and tribulations that she's been through. Just, you know, a lot of people talk about her mental toughness being, you know, supreme. And I think it does show, you know, that how she's rallied through the years in the sport and achieved what she's done. She must be one tough checker.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it was the ending to a conversation that we began before Tarawera, because when she was in the country, we lined her up and we got about 15 minutes into a conversation, and then the internet in Tauranga stopped, or our internet did, and we couldn't finish the conversation, and we had to kind of, with scheduling, we couldn't link back up. But super excited to hear that, and thank you for bringing that to us. But look, before that, we better get into this.
It's the greatest run ever. It's the greatest run ever.
Greatest Run Ever, brought to you by Squad Run. Give their 4-week special coaching trial a go. You can find the link on the website, which is www.dirtchurchradio.com. This is the part of the show where we ask you to write into us and tell us your greatest run ever. It doesn't have to be that time you threw yourself up inside out and then still came third at Western States. It might just be a run around the block. Some that sunk to you for some reason, send it into us at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. And boy, didn't Marianne vomit a lot?
It looks like that on social media,
It's
doesn't
such
it?
a tiny human being. The amount of vomit that can get. Anyway, this is from Jenny Hurst, the legend Jenny Hurst. And just a heads up, this greatest run ever does contain mention of suicide. Jenny writes, I've had more than one GRE on Dirt Church Radio, but it's been a few years and there's been a very special run since then. Last year was a milestone birthday for me, the big 60. Up in age grade and still running. That seemed like something to celebrate. This birthday was particularly poignant as it was also the age my father was when he died. My dad lived an extraordinary life. Hans Hirsch was born in Germany in 1929, the middle of 3 children in a Jewish family. When he was 10, he and his siblings left Berlin on a Kindertransport, which she writes is a train carrying refugee Jewish children, and lived with separate foster families in Scotland throughout the war. They never saw their mother again, as she and most of their relatives died in the Holocaust. After the war, Dad emigrated to New Zealand, changing his name to Herb Hurst. He had an eclectic working life, serving in the army in Korea, teaching for several years, running his own car sales business, among other roles. He had many friends, most of whom were unaware of his unusual childhood. He skied, played tennis, and was an accomplished photographer and loved music. He spent hours outdoors with me during my childhood, encouraging me in whatever challenges I took on. We were very close. I was his only child. Sadly, a combination of health issues and other worries, and maybe the long shadow of his childhood, impacted his mental health in later years. He took his own life aged 60 when I was 25. At that age, I didn't really comprehend what he was going through, but as I got older, it became important to try and make sense of it and to do what I could to prevent others from experiencing what my dad and those close to him had to deal with. In 2015, I was one of the High 50 runners joining Mal Law during his epic 50 mountain marathons in 50 days. Collectively, we raised over $550,000 for the Mental Health Foundation. That was a cathartic and very positive experience. It occurred to me that when on my 60th birthday, this was another great opportunity to have a big adventure for a good cause, getting many of my running friends to join in. 60 kilometres for 60 years was scheduled on a Saturday in September 2024, and I plotted a 60k loop on the North Shore trails and beaches. Although the initial motivation was tragic, the intention was to have a big happy celebration with as many of my running friends as I could manage to join in. I set up a fundraising page with the Mental Health Foundation, outlining my dad's story and why I was doing this, which I shared far and wide. For those in the know, the North Shore of Tamaki Makaurau has some great trails with large sections of native bush, including a kauri and tōtara forests, as well as a string of beaches and rocky coast. Over the years, I've explored all the green bits in this part of the city, linking them together with as little road as possible, finding all hidden pathways and sport fields along the way. In the lead up to the day, I did a few recce runs with my mate Kelly, and by early September 2024, we had the course finalised. Event day saw a large group of runners assemble on the beachfront in Browns Bay. This has included a group of parkrun friends who were planning to run a short distance before the 8 a.m. regular 5k parky, 3 of my mates who were going to run the whole way, and others who had various goals for the day. My husband and greatest supporter Pete, aka Batman, and I just need to stop. I had such a lot of anxiety for such a long time because I only knew him as Batman, and sort of knew him as Pete, but every time I'd see him, the word would, like the name would fight for primacy in my head, and I've gotten over that now, but that's my story. But love you, Batman. He's a brilliant dude.
He's a special human.
Absolutely. Anyway, Batman was crew chief with assistance from other good sorts. We set off past the shops, running the short distance to my local Sherwood Reserve park run where park runners were gathering. There were chalked messages of encouragement on the paths. This felt like a real event already. We wove our way up through a couple of small bush sections and some pathways to East Coast Road with friends waiting at their gate cheering us on. Then through the Northern Pathway parkrun start line, dropping off some of our runners on the way, we collected a few more people in Albany and then hit the first long section of trail with a photo stop at the Gills Reserve waterfall. Then through to Cal Park, Burnside and Fernhill escarpments with more technical trains and beautiful totara trees. A short section of road led to the first aid station at 15k near the sports fields off Rosedale Road. 2-car boots full of drinks, snacks, fruit, home baking courtesy of a dear friend. Best aid station ever, yet more runners waiting to join here. We continued through the trails of Glenfield, Birkenhead and Northcote. The 30k aid station at Birkenhead featured a beautiful birthday cake and more runners joining the party, as well as some keen supporters cheering us on. After a lovely downhill section through the appropriately named Cody Glen, we headed for more hidden pathways in the lower part of Leroy's Bush to Little Shoal Bay near the Harbour Bridge with views of the city. Next stop was Stokes Point, right under the Harbour Bridge, a new location for most. A bit of a low-tide rock hopping under the bridge followed before following the pathway along the coastal side of the motorway, then through the tunnel where the old toll booths were located years ago, onto Onipoto Domain with a water stop and gathering of supporters, followed by a circuit of Tuft Crater and then a road section over to Takapuna Beach. The next major aid station was here, 45k in. Family and friends and workmates gathered waiting and yet more runners. The party-like atmosphere had built throughout the day and I still felt pretty fresh. Each time new people joined it all gave us a real boost. The highlight at this point was having Coach Ellie P join in, having travelled up especially. She'd got me race ready, so it was amazing and much appreciated to have her join for the final coastal section. More rock hopping between Takapuna and Milford was a bit challenging for tired legs. We hugged the coast pretty much all the way north with one more bush diversion onto Centennial Park and Campbell's Bay. This was meaningful. As well as some lovely trails, Campbell Bay Tennis Club is located here. My dad was a passionate tennis player and a member of this club, but a ruptured Achilles tendon put a stop to his tennis when he was in his 50s, and his connection with the sport and tennis friends fell away. At the time, I did not realise what a huge impact this had on his mental health, but how these parallels with my running, together with the community and the connection that it brought, has brought home to me what the loss meant to him. As we headed back to the coast, the end was only a few kilometres away. More runners joined at Mairangi Bay. The last section of coastal path from Murray's Bay to Browns Bay was full of chalked messages of encouragement courtesy of another friend. She'd even got some of the locals to put out out in the gardens cheering us on. We hit Browns Bay Beach for the finish line at our local pub, the venue for our local Monday night club run. A great welcoming party. Post-run celebrations followed with a wonderful cross-section of my running friends, as well as family and other mates. The day was a true reflection of the Mental Health Foundation's 5 ways to well-being: connected, to give, to take notice, to keep learning, and to be active. Obviously, with a fundraising run like this, connect, give, and be active aspects are obvious, but in addition, pretty much every single person who joined ran a trail they'd never been on before, learned a bit about our city and each other, and there were some great conversations and stories shared along the way. We covered 16 bush reserves and parks and 8 beaches. About 50 runners joined in throughout the day, some just for a K or two, some for the longest run they'd ever done, and at least a dozen supporters were out on the course. The total amount raised for the Mental Health Foundation was $8,462. My initial fundraising goal had been $2,500. I had incredible support from my family, work colleagues, and so many generous friends. Look, I just want to put up a massive shout to the running community who got behind the cause, helped me celebrate the big birthday, and provided me with wonderful friends and adventures over the years. Jenny.
It was pretty special. It was pretty cool to, hear Jenny's stories and what it meant to her, and to just see all those people rally around.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Jenny and Pete, or Batman, and
Yeah.
for those interested, he doesn't dress like Batman or wear any Batman-affiliated things.
That we know of.
That we know of. Maybe.
So we don't know why he's called Batman.
There's a story. Why is it called Batman? There is a story there,
Okay.
and I can't remember it.
We'll
but
find out.
he's not a billionaire vigilante, that's for sure. Well, I mean, he might not be, but
He's my least favourite superhero, by the way.
Is he?
Pete
No.
Hurst is your league, you've monster.
I just don't gel with Batman at all. I just don't vibe with his energy. No. Anyway,
Are you more of a Flash guy? Who? What are you?
Flash is cool, definitely. Yeah, Flash is definitely cool.
Is that your favourite superhero?
I don't know if I have a favourite superhero. I just think of all the ones I don't like. it's
Next week
terrible.
on Dirt Church Radio, Andrew's top 5 most disliked superheroes. But for now,
Yeah.
why don't we get into our amazing discussion that Ali had with Marianne Hogan?
We've made it. Marianne
Yes.
Hogan. Kia ora, bonjour. Welcome to Dirt Church Radio.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. It's been a long time coming.
It has. Hey, where in the world are you right now?
I am in the Green Mountains of Vermont.
Oh, Vermont.
Yeah.
Oh. What's brought you there?
I grew up like maybe an hour north of Vermont on the Canadian side. And we grew up coming to these mountains as a kid, and my parents still have a timeshare out here. So I just came up to spend a little bit of time with them.
Oh, cool. And is that post Western States recovery, or are we into UTMB training? Are you doing UTMB this year?
I am hoping. I'm close to saying I was hoping. I'm not recovering so well from Western, so it might be a stretch to be on the start line, but I'll see what I can do.
What's going on then?
I've been dealing with some pain in my left hip. I had pain before Western, and it Western really made it worse. And I'm not quite sure what it is just yet. I will be doing some tests next week to kind of figure out exactly what it is that's going on.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It's okay, but I just haven't been able to run since Western, so I'm not sure how I would recover quicker, or how I would recover quickly, but we never know. Life is full of surprises. I'm taking it one day at a time, and I'm still in the recovery process, so I'm trying not to be stressed for now.
Good. And it sounds like you're in a good place with your parents, having a nice time. So
Yeah,
it's not all
I
bad.
can't I can't complain.
Hey, you were a triathlete before you got into trail running. Is that right?
That is correct. I did triathlon for most of my youth, actually. I started pretty early. I did my first triathlon, I think, when I was 8 or 9 years old, and kept going all the way to 18 or 19 until I switched over to track and field. So, and then I actually came back in the world of triathlon as a guide, as a guide for a Paralympic athlete. So yeah, triathlon has been part of my life for quite a while.
Do you still jump on the bike or get in the pool as part of your training?
I definitely still jump on the bike quite a bit. I haven't done so much for Western just because I feel like Western is a preparation that requires a lot of running. But when I usually train for bigger, more mountainous races, I will incorporate quite a bit of biking. And to be fair, I didn't even bring my bike back from Europe to the US. So that's also why I didn't incorporate any biking these past few months.
And then, so triathlon, how did you get, so you went to track and field. Was that the gateway drug for trail running? What happened there? How did you get into trail running?
I did 5 years of track at university, and when I graduated, I really enjoyed running still, but I guess I wasn't that much interested in the pacing or the hard workouts on the track, like kind of like the more structured part of training that came with road running or track running, but I still really enjoyed running. So I kind of just fell into the world of trail running just because I enjoyed running so much, and there's no better place to do it when you're going for long runs and then it is in the mountains. So I discovered trail at that point and kind of discovered ultras shortly thereafter.
In 2022, you had an absolute blinder. So UTMB was at second place there, and Western States was third place. Yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're pretty close together. So how did you manage to set yourself up to perform so well at both of those events with a short rest and recovery between them?
Yeah, I think that if you prioritize recovery after Western States, I think that they're two races that are quite similar in a certain way. There's a lot of running involved, even if there's more hiking for UTMB. There is a lot of downhill running, which there's a lot in Western States as well. And so I feel like as long as you maximize recovery right after one race, I feel like there is a way to transition really well into the second. And I think another element that really helped me that year is that I had been coming back from a long hiatus within the trail world because I had gone to being a guide as a triathlete, and I also had been injured. So I think that I had a lot of pent up energy that I was willing to put out on the trail. So I think it was good timing for me.
I think the energy word is kind of apt because people often, you seem like you're a bundle of energy and positive energy at that. Like all the, articles I've read about you and quotes that people have said always just describe you as fun. How do you keep your running fun and bring that fun to our sport?
I think that it's central to a lot of the things I do. I would like to say that it's central to everything I do. I think that for me, being consistent and being able to push through the pain that we feel through a 100-mile, I think it's important that you keep the element of fun, because otherwise I feel like giving up is so much more easy in a certain way, or you would want to give up easily if you're not having fun. So for me in training, for example, I feel like I always try to make sure that I have a good time, or that I make it fun, even if I do try to do all of the little things that, make me a better athlete. But I feel like fun is number one on the priority list. And I think that that's also what makes me want to show up to a lot of these races often.
By all the little things, are you chasing those 1%ers? Like you see all this kind of stuff on social media about, I don't know, kind of the nasal strips or the headbands or the heat, the clothes, all that sort of stuff. Are you chasing those things, or what are you saying kind of when you're talking about those?
No, I don't necessarily. I feel like there's a lot of percentage we can still get with the big things that we can do better, even from a little standpoint, if that makes sense. Like I'd rather improve my fitness and my health and my recovery before I start incorporating any of those things that you started mentioning, which I understand that people are doing it. But for me, it's more about making sure that I do my bases really, really well, so that I can go on for a long time and I can have fun in the mountain, but not necessarily the little things like nasal strips or I don't know what else, or the super shoes, or all of those other things. I think I focus on the basics, and I feel like the basics serve me well.
Okay, so what would you say the basics are then? If people go, I want to be doing things well, what are the basics according to Marianne?
Well, I think and I guess my point in that is that a performance is if we're saying the 1%, I feel like 90% is probably the basics. So there's a lot of room for improvement within that 90%. And I feel like that's where I maximize my effort. And maybe when I feel like I will have maximized everything there, I will move on to those 1% bits here and there. But I feel like the basis is definitely consistent training. I think training is really important. Strength training is also part of that. I feel like that's something that's really important, especially for me, as someone who has lived a lot of injuries and has had to come back from those, I feel like strength training is super important. And then I think on the basis side of things, there's definitely sleep. Sleep is absolutely important, and it's a free tool for recovery. And I feel like that's definitely part of the basis. And then nutrition. Nutrition is a huge part of it. As it's as important, nutrition is important at all times. During exercise, post-exercise, pre-exercise, all those things. So those are for me some important things that I like to focus on to make sure that I'm doing everything I can in terms of my basis, and then potentially incorporate other stuff as well.
It sounds very wise. I think everybody would probably agree with you too on that being the priority.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you need the strength work because of injuries, and you've recovered from some pretty hefty injuries and got yourself back into running again. Like, what are the keys to success when doing this? Have you got any advice for injured runners or ones that don't want to get injured?
Well, I think for those who don't want to get injured, obviously, I think strength training is key. I think there's a lot of ways that you can do just a little bit of stuff consistently to make sure that you don't get injured. And then on the other side of things, I think that once you do get injured, I think it's realizing that whatever it is that you're going through is a very short period of time in comparison to the life that we have and the life that we have as athletes as well. Like, I feel like sometimes when we're injured, like a day can feel like a year, or a month can feel like a decade. And I feel like once we get out of that month, we actually realize that it's just a blip in our lives, and it's not that big of a deal. And so and that being said, I do get caught up in the negativity as well. When I first get injured, I feel like there's always 1 or 2 days where I do find like it's really hard, but then I realize that, like, okay, this is going to actually go by pretty fast. And I can use this time efficiently to do other stuff. May it be spend time with my family, or spend time with my friends, or catch up on different things that I'm doing. But definitely, I feel like at the end of the month, or however long the period it is, like, I feel like it has gone by way quicker than what I imagined in the first place, if that makes sense.
It does. And it is hard, right? Like, you're kind of in the moment and it feels like doom and gloom. So
yeah,
it sounds like you've got that kind of way of reframing things and going, okay, well, how can I make the most of this time right now? And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Hang out with your friends and family.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like in some races though, you've had, I'm going to say, shit go sideways a few times, and you've had to well, you haven't had to, you chose to persevere through it. So I read about, was it a torn psoas and a dislocated finger? Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
So like for lots, people would go, oh my God, my finger's dislocated. That's it, game over. Like, how does Marianne choose to keep going? Like, lots of people would stop then.
Yeah, I so both of those instances happened for both of my UTMBs. So I tore my psoas with a marathon left to go during my first UTMB, and then I dislocated my finger about the same spot, to be honest, like really close to where I tore my psoas. So it was kind of a strange ordeal. I feel, to me, it's like, I feel like for me, ultras are it's like a metaphor for life. Like, we always have obstacles thrown our way. We always have stuff happen, and we have problems, and we need to find solutions to those problems. And I feel like there is always a solution. Like, not always. I understand sometimes life throws problems your way that are more dramatic than others. But I feel like what I always try to do is troubleshoot the problem that I have at hand and find a solution that will allow me to get to wherever it is I want to do, or accomplish whatever it is I want to do as quickly as possible. So I feel like, yeah, whenever I get on the start line, I think it's very clear to myself that I want to make it to the finish and I want to give it my all. And I'm not going to choose to quit. And so whatever it is that life throws my way that day, I just have to fight through it and get to the finish line, and that's what I've been able to do, and that I wish that I hope to continue to do. But again, I feel like we need to understand that some issues are bigger than others, and sometimes quitting is the better option, or is the solution to your problem, but it most often isn't.
Yeah, that's good advice, because I think there's this side to our sport now of like, kind of not win at all costs, but like finish at all costs or that sort of thing. So it's good to kind of have that voice of reason and go, hey, you're more important than just a finish as well.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, like that life does throw you challenges. Have you had some challenges in your life that you hold dear that, make you a stronger runner?
So I had a huge injury in 2018. I fell and I broke my leg. So I had two surgeries after that. And when they operated me back, they actually operated me with a fault, in the sense of my foot is no longer in aligned with my leg. It's like open a little bit. Like if you look at me run, you kind of feel like I run with the penguin foot on the right foot. And it's not something that I used to have. It's something that I only got since 2018 or 2019. And it does create a lot of issues for me to this day. Like I think a lot of the reasons why I'm injured on the left side on a quite frequent basis is to do with that foot. But I also feel like it's the number one reason why I don't quit so easily, just because I know that, that injury did take me out for so long. Like I did not race any trail races from 2018 all the way to 2021. And that's a really long period of time to not be able to do what you love. And so I feel like, yeah, I think that that's also a big explanation as to why I choose to continue as long as I can, because I know that there are, I feel like a broken leg is a really good example of a time where you have to quit. You don't have an option. Running on a broken leg isn't an option. So I feel like, I feel like that's probably something that has shaped my desire or the passion that I have for trail running and what I do.
Yeah, 3 years is such a long time. Like I can imagine lots of people just gone, that's it, I don't run anymore.
Yeah.
So you must, sport must mean a lot to you, right? If you've gone through 3 years of trying to get back to doing what you love.
Yeah. Yeah, it means a lot. And I think what I've come to realize is that I can live without it, but I feel less happy when I'm without it. And I feel like that's telling a lot. Like even these past 2 days since Western, it's been 2 weeks now, and I haven't really been able to run. And I feel like something is missing, even if, I'm perfectly happy and content. And I understand that relaxing is the thing to do right now. But I do feel like it has an impact on my mood and I guess my mental clarity in a certain way. So I guess I just understand how much I love it and how much it means to me and how much it makes me happy on a daily basis. And I think I'm lucky to have found something that I'm able to do that really, that it freely elevates your well-being in a certain way.
That's so apt, it freely elevates your well-being. I love it. So recently, obviously Western States, it was fast, right? It was hot, it was fast, and you're just still there in the mix.
Yeah.
Given this, what do you think about that? Like the sport's getting faster?
I think the sport is getting faster. I think the density is getting much bigger too, in terms of, how close we are, like the top 10, like top 10 women, top 10 men. I feel like the sport is getting more and more competitive. And I think that this sort of density is definitely bringing the sport forward in terms of results. I think like there's no room for error. And if you do make a mistake, you pay for it more than we used to in a certain way. And I think that that's really good. But I also think that, as ultras is fast evolving, and we're evolving with science and whatever it is that we're discovering and things that we can do better in terms of training, preparation, and during. A lot of that has to do with nutrition, but I also think that a lot of that has to do with training principles that more and more of us are applying on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. So I do think that, and also because the sport is evolving, a lot more people are now living from it. And I think that makes a difference in the sense of like everyone is now doing everything that they can to be the best runner they can be. There's not there's not a lot of things that people are doing differently. I feel like a lot of the things that people used to do maybe 5 or 10 years ago that would like differentiate them within the pack, I think now is just common behaviors amongst all elite athletes or all top 10 athletes within Western States results.
Yeah, the capacity to train, right, when you're a professional athlete is different to somebody who's working and then trying to train on top and recover on top of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you get help with your training? Like, are you self-coached or are you coached by someone?
No, I'm coached by someone. I'm coached by a French runner called Simon Gosselin. He coaches a lot of other athletes, top level athletes, and he is a top level athlete himself. He did Western last year, and he's a runner from France. He runs for On.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What keeps you at the top of your game when it comes to training and racing?
I think the acknowledgement that I never wake up. I feel like every morning is a blessing to be waking up and being able to do what I love as a job in a certain way. So I feel like that really helps me make sure that I do everything I can to remain in that position in a certain way. For me, it's easy to just feel like this is what I should be doing, and those are the things that I could do to make sure that I keep this life for me in a certain way, because I would like to keep doing it for years to come. And so I think that is really motivating for me. And I want to make sure that when I get to a start line, I have done everything that I could have done to be in the better position. I feel like I don't want to show up on a start line with regrets of anything or at the finish line, to be honest. But in terms of preparation, that's why.
Yeah, and I think that's a nice thing, like not taking it for granted, just being absolutely stoked that you get to do this as your job, right?
Yeah, that's it. I think I used to have a job on the side, and I kept my job for a really long time just to I feel like, because I didn't want it to feel like a job, but then I switched the narrative to myself, and I was like, well, it doesn't have to feel like a job. I can just actually be happy and enthusiastic or grateful that it is my job, and reap the benefits instead of making it feel like an additional pressure.
I think that comes through too in your social media content, that it just looks like you're having fun with it, like, how do you manage the social media side of things?
I feel like I'm pretty transparent and open, and I feel like it's a pretty good depiction of of my life through running, and I think that that's how I want to keep it. But yeah, I guess people who would know me would be able to speak to that better than myself. But I feel like it's a good representation of what I am and who I am and why I do it. And yeah, I think that that's what I love about it. I love that we can share. I love that we can share our love for running on social media in a certain way. And I just hope that it inspires others to do the same, and potentially, if it doesn't inspire a runner to run or to run more as their passion, like whatever it is that they're into, if it encourages them to do that, I feel like that's pretty good to me.
Are there some topics, that you feel passionate about kind of sharing or supporting with your profile that you have?
Um, I feel a certain responsibility, and it's not a burden. I want to say responsibility. I don't feel like it's a burden, but I feel like as women in trail running, it's our responsibility to take space and own the space that we have. I feel like we are at a point in time where the women's race should be and is as exciting as the men's race and should be treated equally in terms of representation as much on the live feed as it is on social media. And that also comes back to the brands that we work with. And I feel like emphasize the importance of the brands that we work with, that they would share as much about their female athletes as they would their male counterparts. And so I feel like that is the thing that I guess impacts or yeah, impacts or touches me the most in a certain way.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, I'd be keen to hear your thoughts. Do you think we're making progress in that space?
I think we're making progress. I think there's room for improvement. Like a lot of things in life, of course. But I feel like we're making progress, but I do feel like we do need to keep pushing for it, because it's not necessarily given per se, and that is a shame. But we are going into the right in the right direction for that.
Yeah, and just watching that Western States coverage this year, I was like cheering for you, cheering for Abby, cheering for Caitlin, and it was really fun. Like I enjoyed watching that coverage and, having that split screen, like kind of like what we've got right now on our computer.
Yeah.
And seeing, the races unfolding.
Yeah.
So,
and if I may, like in that context, like I think it's pretty interesting and pretty crazy to think that like the 11th, 12th, and 13th position in the males race or in the overall race were female. So I feel like that is proof that, the women race in itself is very, very impressive. And I don't feel like there is a need to be compared to our male counterparts. But for those who feel like it is necessary, I think that is proof in itself. Like if, the 11th place male is a good position for a male elite runner to be at Western States. And when you think about it, the women did 11, 12, and 13th. Like that's pretty impressive, I would say. And I think that should speak loudly to brands or, I guess media agencies or media means of media to push for women's races, results, coverage, all of that.
With improving things for women, are there any other areas that you'd like to see changed and how they cater towards women in the women's race?
I guess I would just like to find ways, and I don't have a magic solution, because if I did, I feel like I hope that we would implement it, but I would love to see the participation rate of women at races really go up. And I feel like that was something that was very inspiring and motivating to see in New Zealand when I traveled out there for Tarawera in February. Like it was really impressive to see the participation rate of women at your races in Tarawera. And I'm not quite sure if that is the case for all races in New Zealand or why that is. But I think that would be interesting for us or for the rest of the world to take notes and try to figure out how you guys do it. Because I feel like that's something that could be really good for the sport as a whole, but also the women population, of course.
What did you notice any differences? Like, so going with comparing Tarawera to what you're used to, like what did you notice that you think might be more inviting for female participants?
I haven't noticed, but I also think that like I was injured at Tarawera, so I didn't get the full experience. So I don't know if there are things that I might have missed. I'm not sure what it is exactly, and that's why I guess I was intrigued if maybe you had answers to that question, or if this is something that we should dig in more or whatnot.
I do actually get asked that quite a bit, and I think the race started with Paul Charteris, who'd spent time over in the US, and he just loved Western States. So he basically kind of modeled Tarawera off Western States, and I think he set it up more for that racing, but actually it really that style suits participation as well, because he wanted the frequent aid stations. He didn't want people to have to carry heaps of gear. He wanted it to be fast and runnable. And I think that's kind of part of what's led to it being quite an accessible race for people, because they go, I know that the next aid station's not that far away. I know it's not, like there's not high mountain passes. There's not like really remote sections generally. So it's less intimidating for people newer to the sport. The aid stations are full of options, and there's that friendly volunteer vibe. So you'll always see women helping host them. So there's that comfort, I guess, that comes from that. And there's been, the option for lots of familiarity runs, that sort of thing. Lots of female event staff. So there is a lot that is done and historically has been done really well as well, which I think kind of leads to that I'll give it a go. And it really did start within the Rotorua community. Like we had, like the mums and the people working at the shop and the local GP and all that sort of stuff would go out and run it. And so from a visibility perspective, it's been really good as well, because it's so relatable for the people that enter and run it. They'll go, oh yeah, Sarah from my physio did it, or that sort of thing.
Yeah. That's interesting. I do think that probably the accessibility makes a big difference for people who, as you said, might be hesitant to go on in an ultra running in the wild, or where you can't get carried out before until like 50 kilometers later. I do probably think that has something to do with it. But I do think if that's the case, I feel like there are a possibility to have a lot of those kinds of races in place in order to kind of reassure people that they are able to cover the distance and whatnot, and then perhaps move on to different races that are perhaps less accessible. So that would be definitely something to look into, and I think something worth exploring as an option to increase participation.
And thinking about that, like we at Tarawera, I spoke with Corinne about kind of that demystification of ultra distance. What would you say to somebody that's, like that they love their running, they've done some half marathons or maybe a road marathon, and they're going, oh, I'd like to try this ultra business. How much harder is it? Like what would you say to people that are going, 100K or 100 miles, I can't do it? Or could I do it?
I think that people feel like the distance or the numbers are like a big, hairy, audacious goal. But in reality, like I feel like the best way to describe this is if you line up one day to do a 30-kilometer race, like 30 kilometers feels long, like it just feels long because that's what you're doing and that's what you have to do. But if you line up for a 50-kilometer race, then your 30-kilometer doesn't feel as long. And so I feel like it's only a matter of perspective. And I feel like as long as you train your body to do whatever it is that you're going to do, I feel like anything is possible. And so I feel like people who are afraid of it or worried about it, they need to understand that there is a process that can be done to get you ready and prepared, and that's all you need to do to get it done. and it's I think it should be less daunting if you are well prepared. And I think there's a lot of ways that you can get well prepared. So, yeah.
Maybe that's part of the challenge for a woman with that. I mean, I know, maybe it is part of the challenge, is that feeling prepared, right? Like having the time to kind of throw at things to feel prepared to take these things on.
Yeah, but I also think that to each their own ultra marathons, you know, like you don't need to do. For me, I feel like longer isn't necessarily more difficult or more impressive in a certain way. I feel like there is something to be said about someone who races a 50K, someone who races an 80K, like, and that those to me are ultras. Like, it's any distance above a marathon, and I feel like you can find a way to fit. You can find a way to find a goal that fits within your schedule and your reality, and not necessarily look at what it is that other people are doing. Because yes, indeed, the reality is I do not have kids. I do not have a job. And of course, I can train easier for an ultra marathon distance like 160 kilometers. But I feel like someone who, maybe has a full-time job and is a full-time parent, I feel like could find a goal that would motivate them and get them outside and have them do something that they can be proud of. And so, I feel like there's obviously different reasons for why people would do different distances. And I feel like people need to understand that, you know, every reason is a good reason to do whatever distance it is that you're choosing to do. And it's impressive in itself, you know?
Absolutely. Because when you came to Tarawera, you ran the 21K, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure it was a lot of fun still, even though you weren't doing the distance you lined up for. It's still great to be able to engage with the sport regardless, right?
Yeah, it was really fun. I couldn't race. Like, I was barely able to run. Like, those were the first few days that I was running after my injury. But it was really fun because, as you said, like the aid stations are really, really lively. And oftentimes when you're racing, you're not paying attention to all the little details and all the little things that are happening at aid stations. So I did find that really fun, actually, to run that distance and get to live the race differently.
Yeah. And I think that's part of it, right? With running, like, we probably have all experienced it. There's almost like we have different, and seasons, I want to use the word seasons, even though it's not in the kind of the way that we interpret it, but we have seasons within our running where it might be like, I've got the time at the moment to train for a 21K, or I'm being a bit niggly, I'm going to run a 21K, or whether it's like, actually, I've got the time now to focus on running that 100-miler, or, you know, getting into racing too. So I'm sure you've been through some seasons with your running.
Yeah, of course. I think every season has multiple seasons as well, to be honest.
True. Hey, you've done incredibly well at both UTMB and Western States. Which race do you prefer and why?
I have a lot of trouble answering that question. I feel like it's hard for me. It's like when people say, "Do I prefer French or English?" or
That's
or
one of
things
my
like
other
that. I love them both for different reasons. I feel like both of them have different things to offer. I think I love the ambiance that Western States offers, but I love the course of UTMB. I feel like I love the big mountain views, and I also really enjoy hiking with poles or running with poles. I feel like whenever I train for Western, that's something that I miss. But I love that Western is a very particular race to excel at, because there's so many dimensions that you need to work with, like altitude, heat, speed, but also you need to know how to run uphill, downhill. And I love that UTMB is a big spectacle. I love the fact that UTMB is a huge event, and it's kind of like the festival of trail running, and people come from around the world to be there. And I really enjoyed that. I love, I guess, the excitement that comes with it. So I have a hard time deciding between both, and I think that that's why I often find myself on those start lines or start lists. I don't always make it to the start line, but I feel like I it's hard for me to pass an opportunity to be on either of those start lists if the opportunity arises. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I'm curious, what would you say is the best race in Canada?
That's a good question. I haven't raced a lot in Canada because I didn't live here much. Actually, I lived here for a while, but I was injured for a while. I did a race up north in Quebec, and it's called UTHC, so Ultra Trail Harricana. And I really enjoyed that race. I feel like they make it a big weekend, like kind of like a family weekend, and it's a festival, and they have a concert on Saturday night, and it's a really nice course as well. So that's a race that I enjoyed as well, and kind of is close to my heart. But I have to say that the mountains on the West Coast are also very, very nice, and there are quite a lot of racing up there. And I know that Gary Robbins puts on a lot of really cool races. So I feel like those would have to be at the top of the list for anyone looking for a race in Canada.
You came and spent our summer in New Zealand. When will we see you back in our neck of the woods again?
I don't know. I hope so. We had a really good time, actually. We rented an RV and we spent 2 weeks traveling on the South Island at first, and then we took the ferry over to the North Island and explored the volcanoes up there, and we had a really good time. We loved a lot of things about New Zealand, and one thing that struck us was, I guess it's very stress free. I feel like it's really easy to rent an RV and travel around. But I also love the fact that there's not too much traffic. We don't have to worry about wild animals. Like, that's actually pretty crazy when you think about. Like, there's really no wild animals to worry about. And we really, really love the people. I feel like we felt like the people were very, very laid back and very welcoming. That's definitely something that we enjoyed. And I think we definitely made the most of our 5 weeks in New Zealand. And I hope that something will bring me back up there. Perhaps another opportunity to run Tarawera. The only thing that I think is hard about that race for us that lives on a different part of the world is the time of year. It does require a specific type of preparation to be ready to race 100K, a fast 100K, might I say, early February. So I don't know that I will return next year, for example. But I do hope to return at some point in the future so that I can go back and run the race in its entirety and make a vacation out of it as well, of course.
We're going to jump into it with a quick fire round now. French or English?
I think I'll go French. I'll force myself to answer every question. I'll say French.
Nickelback or Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber.
Drake or Celine Dion?
Celine Dion.
51st state or New Zealand's newest island?
Definitely New Zealand's newest island, I would say.
Favorite trail in the world?
That's a very broad question. I like any type of trail that follows the ocean or that like a mountainous range next to the water. Like that really is, those are my favorite types of trails. Any type of trail that follows the water.
Western States win or UTMB win?
I think I'll go UTMB win.
Who is your female running idol?
I think I'll say Camille Bruras. She's my close friend, and she's definitely somebody that I idolize for the person and athlete she is. But her persona as a whole is someone that I idolize for sure.
Male running idol?
Male running idols. I have a lot. I think I'll similar reason I'll say Mathieu Blanchard, who's a really good friend of mine, and I love what he builds for himself as as a runner, and a character, I guess, in the realm of trail running and beyond.
Best post-run food?
I think I will say a burger. I feel like a burger always hits the spot. Like with no, not poutine. Poutine is too greasy, but I like it. I like a good burger with a lot of toppings. Like I like the burger to be very tall.
Best running song?
Best running song. I listen to a lot of French music when I run, and there's one song that I listen to for 4 days straight on repeat, and it's called Musica by Carbon, and it's definitely it's not a definitely it's the I wouldn't say is a good specific running song, but it works for me and I really like it.
What's the best advice you've ever been given?
I think that it's not an advice that I've been given, but I guess kind of life gives you advice. I think like optimism is a choice. Like I think we can choose to be optimistic, and I think that that's an advice that I like to have on a daily basis with whatever it is that I'm going through. We can't always control a situation, but we can control our reaction to the situation. And I think that that's good advice for sure.
Lastly, there's a question that we ask everyone who comes on Dirt Church Radio. Marianne Hogan, what has been your greatest run ever?
My greatest run ever. I think there was a time in my life where on Christmas Day, my whole entire family would go for a run. And that's a tradition that I really enjoyed. And I couldn't tell you a year specifically, but I feel like in those moments, I felt really lucky to live that as a moment. So I think that would probably be one of them.
Thanks so much for joining us, Marianne. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on Dirt Church Radio.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for re-inviting me after the first internet swap a few months ago.
All right, there we go. What a legend. My goodness me. What a legend. Does it make you want to, I don't know, when you get injured that badly or just to have that many kind of struggles, it's not a linear thing, and then just to be that good at something, it's pretty incredible.
I think it's just a testament to her mindset, right? And approach. But she talks, like we talked about it then, about doing, the bulk of the things right, like the 90%. And there's good takeaways for everybody. I think we've all been through situations where we've been injured or sick and trying to rally and get back to it. So, thanks, Marianne.
All right. Well, look, we'll leave you pondering Andrew's 5 most unliked superheroes until next week. But until then, Dirt Church Radio.
Superman.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
On.
He doesn't have any flaws. They had to make one up. They had to sort of throw kryptonite in there. So, that really messes him up. But the rest of the time, he's impossible to stop. Also, and don't at me because it's a female, but Captain Marvel, because
how dare you?
Because she just spoiler if you haven't seen the Avengers, but she just turns up and wastes everybody. I'm like, well, you got to
much like Marianne Hogan.
You can't. Okay, sure. I'll get that list to you soon.
Dirt Church Radio is presented by me, Matt Raymond.
Me, Ali Pottinger.
And me, Andrew McDowell.
We're on all the podcast platforms, so follow, and give us a rating. It helps. We're on social media at Dirt Church Radio and email us at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com.
And remember to sign up to our Substack for a weekly newsletter and aid station podcast. Also write in with your greatest run ever. We'd love to hear from you, and you can read them on the website too.
Thanks to our supporters Further Faster, That's It, Squad Run, and our Substack subscribers in the DCR aid station crew.
Stay tuned for our show in 2 weeks when we have another great guest lined up. Mā te wā.